Good Wednesday afternoon to you all out there, and welcome into another episode of the Bark and Brown Show. I'm Jacob, that's Casey, and Mr. Nick Carnes down below. We're brought to you as always by our friends over at SeatGeek, so you can check us out if you want to get some live tickets to some sort of upcoming event. You want to go over to SeatGeek, use our promo code Bark and Brown. It's all one word, get $20 off the said first purchase. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and that like button on the YouTube. So if you're not on YouTube, head over to the YouTube and give us a sub. Hey, we've had a lot of new people, like 30 or 40 new subs in the last 2 or 3 days. So welcome to all the new people, and to the returning people. We love you. We love the new people too. We love all of you. We're like 30 followers on TikTok away from a merch giveaway. So maybe you go over there and you do that too. Because like we do some polls, and coming up is a poll on who is getting punished on the latest draft show. So that's only on TikTok. You can only find it over there. So, oh shit, I meant to set it up to try to stream on TikTok for this. Whatever. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
I'm doing all right, man. I was doing better until some news dropped a little earlier that I'm sure we're going to talk about. I've come to grips with what this season is. I have some hopes on the way out. I just hope those hopes get met.
I'm just saying that I think if you do use code Barking Browns on your SeatGeek purchase, you could probably go to the next Browns game for free. So
the home game, yeah.
Well,
it's this week, isn't it? They're home at this week.
Yeah, I saw $9 tickets. So if there's any type of thing to take away about that, I don't think it needs to be said. So, but good overall. Would really like competent special teams play. That's where I'm at, man.
I just don't. And then, I was on Sports for CLE yesterday, and I said, like, I don't know how you don't fire Bubba Ventrone. And Dave made the point that, like, they don't have an assistant special teams coordinator to move on from. And I'm like, that seems like a whole other issue if you don't have an assistant. Because haven't they all? I think traditionally they've had one, but I checked to verify, and they don't this year. So it's that's an interesting tidbit of research I did to check on that. And I'm like, oh my God, they don't. But then again, that's a bigger problem, right? Because now that you have this massive problem, and it's not like Ventrone's special teams units have been amazing coming into this year and they've fallen off the cliff just this year. It's been a problem before. So the fact that you are in a position where you've been forced to keep him is yet another reason why this episode is called Time to Hit the Reset Button in Cleveland.
Probably a smart move on Ventrone's part to not have an assistant then, right?
Yeah. Especially because he's also the associate head coach or the assistant.
That's what I'm saying. Then if you let go Kevin, then, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Kill it with fire.
Like, we'll get into it, but it's just...
Nick, you can get into whatever the hell you want to get into right now. Go for it.
Okay. I think it's conservatively fair to say special teams has cost the Browns 3 wins this year. And with the state of the AFC North, if you had 3 more wins, if you even had 2 more wins, I mean, you were in the hunt. You were in the hunt graphic just last week, right?
Yeah,
the AFC North is I don't want to say all-time weak. The AFC North's weak this year, okay? And it wouldn't take a whole lot more wins to at least be in some type of striking distance. And it's so frustrating that of all the things we get into every year, leading up to the season and all of that here we are talking about damn special teams and your punt returns that you give up for touchdowns and your missed kicks and your just gaffes that give up like 20 some yards of field position for no reason, and just the muffed catches, which you could see coming because one almost happened, and then it happens like 2 kicks later. It's just the dumbest reasons, like those 1% margins. All of them just keep going the opposite direction that you need them to, and they all add up to make such a difference in these football games. I'm unbelievably frustrated about it.
So I just want to piggyback off his AFC North statement. If you were to pull it apart and look at each individual unit, the top two units in this entire division are the bottom two teams: Bengals offense, Browns defense. Everything was for the grabs this year.
There's 0 winning records, right? Like 0 winning records in the division. Like there's 2 6-6 teams or whatever, I believe, or 1 5-6 team. Whatever.
And 2 seasons removed from all 4 teams being above 500.
Yeah, and you have a historic defense, by the way, like a historic defense, and you've won 3 games.
You're right. 6-6. Steelers and Ravens.
That's what I thought. The Bears and Patriots say get another coach. Yeah. Daniel Oyefusi from ESPN put this tweet out. The Browns have one of the worst special teams DVOAs through 12 games since 1978. The Browns are dead last in net punting value, 28th in kickoffs and punt returns, 27th in kick returns, and 23rd in field goals and extra points. You got rid of Prefer because you said, hey, like, and Ventrone was very well thought of in circles and stuff, and yet he comes here and it's like, you know, the thing is, we talk about it with Kevin Stefanski where it's like, oh, maybe he needs this or he needs that. And it's just like they fired all these other coaches and they've made all these changes. And what's the one common denominator that is still there? It's Kevin. Like, I'm sorry. I drank a little too much Kool-Aid last week and got a little bit too worked up about Shedeur Sanders against a bad Raiders team because I wanted so bad for that to be the answer. And he's still got a chance to prove himself. Like he's going to play again this week against a bad team. And, you know, any kind of exposure in the NFL is good exposure when you're a rookie, in my opinion, just because you've got to take steps forward. But like I got too jacked up and then I went and watched this game and I'm like, yep, I knew it. I even texted Casey after last Wednesday's show and was like, I think I was a little too optimistic, a little too hopeful, a little too positive because, you know, they won a big game and the offense had looked competent for one of the only times. And then it looked competent to start the first half in this game. And then it just all fell apart. And it just, Casey, you said it beautifully, and I'll kick it to you here. You said this game was a microcosm of the season that has been. So I'll give you a chance just to kind of like expand on that a little bit, because I think that really sums up this past week and where we are overall really well.
Yeah, you've been competitive in the first half of every game. Every game you come out of the first half, you know, feeling frisky.
Yeah.
And then you just fall flat on your face in the second half and it all falls apart. Sometimes it's 1 unit, sometimes it's 2 units, sometimes by the end of it, it's all 3. You know, but it just unravels, and then you can feel the snowball effect once it unravels, you know, and then it's just, you can't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. There's no resiliency in that way. And even like, and obviously the offense has a myriad of issues up front, everywhere, skill positions, quarterback. I mean, it's a mess. That needs kill it with fire, rebuild it. You know, we'll see you next year. But even like defensively, where you are elite, anytime that they're counted on to be elite, they fall apart. You know, whether like just the end of that first half, you take a lead, you get momentum, you're 8-7. They in 39 seconds they go the length of the field to hit a chip shot field goal and take the momentum right back. You know, that can't happen. It just can't happen. Now, the times I don't fault the defense for falling apart, you know, when they've been pitching a beautiful game for 3.5 quarters and the offense has given them nothing and the dam finally breaks. Okay, that wasn't what this was, you know. It's, you know, and then obviously the special teams, and it's not even about firing Bubba Ventrone. It's about why the fuck wasn't he fired a month ago? This only happened because you didn't do that, you know. And the whole like, okay, there's no assistant special teams coach. I don't give a damn. There's no accountability from the coaches to the players. Nothing. It's just, you're gonna, whatever happens, you're gonna get away with it. I promise. My greatest fear is that they just run it back as is. That's my greatest fear.
I couldn't get out of that game. Like when we came out of that Raiders game, and like I said, I knew last week, I knew it in the moment when I was doing it that I was drinking too much Kool-Aid, but I came out of that going, well, if this offense can kind of like if Shedeur Sanders can take some steps forward and this offense can kind of right the ship a little bit, and like a lot of these young guys the last couple of years have worked out for Andrew Berry, and I've kind of and I bounced around a little bit, and I kind of talked myself into it. And then watching the second half in this game, like you said, it was just like, what went wrong? Everything. In the description of this episode, you're going to see where we're going to discuss what went wrong. Well, this is the discussion of what went wrong. Everything. They had their best blocked game, pass block win rate wise, and they scored 8 points. Shedeur Sanders regressed, in my opinion. You said this too, Casey. Had over 3 seconds in average time to throw, and you can't have that. Not with this. But what's also embarrassing is it wasn't all on him. Sometimes he was holding onto the ball because nobody was getting open, and if you're not getting open in 3 seconds, you got a massive problem outside of the quarterback. And I know sometimes the quarterback was holding on to it because he wasn't trusting his eyes, and we'll get a little bit more into that Shedeur Sanders conversation here in a second. But it's just anytime they get momentum, they lose it because they got the ball coming out of half, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah. So Ryan Day at Ohio State and a lot of other places, they talk about that middle 8, right? The last 4 minutes of the second quarter and the first 4 minutes of the third quarter, that being a game-changing period. You almost had it because you took the lead right before half, and you could have went into half up 8-7, being like, oh man, it was only 8 points, but and then you come out and you score again, but no, you gave up a field goal. You went in down, and then you came out and started shitting down your leg. Mm-hmm. Offensively, and I'll give you credit, James. You said, I don't think we get a good sense of any quarterback as long as this coaching staff is in place. I think that's a fair statement to make.
Right.
I think you can still get it.
I have to push back a little bit, man.
Well, that's
Reese
what I was
called
going to say.
Good game in that first half, bro. Reese called a good game in that first half.
That's what I was going to say.
A lot of opportunity that it wasn't taken advantage of.
Yeah, and we're going to get into that as well. I agree with you, but I'm just saying to an extent, there is some. You got to be able to put on when you're watching the tape, you're watching the game. You got to put it on context of was that a quarterback play or was it set up from failure to begin with? If it's bad, was it on the quarterback or was it a play call? Was it a scheme call? Because I agree with you, because I did think Reese called a really good first half. That's why I was feeling really nice about the 8-7.
Yeah.
But
Jake and I were on the phone when Shedeur threw that touchdown to Fannin, and we were excited. We were talking. It was great. And I just want to add to your reset button point. You have the defensive player of the year, the defensive rookie of the year, and the rookie rushing leader. And you have 3 wins. You have 3 wins, and you continually just find ways to lose. I feel like if you there's been a lot of talk about Mike Tomlin and maybe the Steelers blowing it up and that type of thing. And there's just been discussions would you want Mike Tomlin, that type of thing. I feel like a coach like Mike Tomlin would waltz to at least a 500 record with. If you said Mike Tomlin has the defensive player of the year, the defensive rookie of the year, and the rookie rushing leader, I feel like a coach that is worth his salt is going to win more than this just bottom feeding performance that the Browns are in right now. And so to me, it just comes to coaching. It comes to coaching. I get it. You don't have these perfect answers across the team, but you also have a defense that's they put up the Jim Schwartz graphic and it's second, third, right? In all the categories. Okay. There's the recipe is here to be at least a middling football.
Yes.
A middling. And you are awful. We're looking at Tankathon. We're a top 5 pick now.
Casey said it in a short, a week, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think. I don't remember, but he said something along the lines of, I've never seen a group do less with more. Because we see a lot of other places doing more with less. And James in the comments was talking about Mike Vrabel. doing well in New England because he saw what not to do in Cleveland, and that kind of made me chuckle when I saw that comment. But building off of what you said, that was the talking point after the Patriots, outside of quarterback, because Drake May is awesome, and I loved him coming out in that class. And quarterback changes everything. But outside of that, the roster around him is not that much better than Cleveland's, to where they should have put belt to ass to Cleveland like they would. But it speaks to their preparation, their discipline, and their overall direction and buy-in to what Mike Vrabel is preaching. And it's clear that whatever is being preached in Cleveland is not getting through enough to result in players, because this roster is better than 3-9. Am I off base by saying that? Like, do we? I know quarterback's a disaster, and I know the offensive line isn't great, but like, there are opportunities there. There have been opportunities where you have beat yourself. Like, we talked about this early season, especially like when they were like 1-3, 1-4, where it's like, you beat yourself against Cincinnati. You dominated Cincinnati. You lost that game. And like you said, Casey, they've been in every first half. Yep. It's not till the second half they fall apart. And then I look at that Jets. You lost to the damn Jets. You let up back-to-back kick returns. One was a punt, one was a kickoff, but you get what I'm saying. Like, you let up and it was like, what was it like? If you had taken out those touchdowns, I think the Browns would have won that game. Maybe, I can't recall. I don't remember. They would have, right?
Yeah, completely. I think what it comes down to, and this coaching staff cannot make lemonade. They're handed lemons, and they just got fucking lemons. They just have fucking lemons. They can't make the lemonade, man. It's like, at some point you need to be greater than the sum of your parts. You need to, through scheme, through discipline, through technique, and just through toughness. I'm watching Jacoby Brissett look like a good quarterback. We know what Jacoby Brissett is, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not
the middle of the pack.
He's out there. Their offense is putting up points. Now they're struggling to win games because it's a bad overall team. But like, you can see them making lemonade on offense. You can just like, oh shit, they're scoring 25 a week. If this Browns team could do that exact same thing, score 25 points, you're in the playoffs. But 17, they've been over 17 twice all year. And one of them, it took defensive touchdowns and other shit,
That's what I was
for that to happen. So it's just, and at some point you have to be the reason. And this coaching staff is never the reason. It all feels like if everything's not perfect, and this goes across the board, if everything's not perfect, there's no shot. If it's not a perfectly thrown ball, the receivers aren't catching it. And if it feels like that with the coaching staff as well, man. And that can't be the reason to hold on to somebody. When you're this far along in a regime, 6 seasons, and you're still the basement dweller in your division, I don't have a damn reason to keep you. I don't have a single reason to run this back.
It's like, we've had this conversation. I've talked about it on Sports for CLE. We've talked about it on this podcast, where I'm just like, I don't know how you sell this to any free agent. Like, that's because that's step one in the rebuild, right? Because free agency, then the draft. Obviously, you build through the draft, but you can fill some holes in free agency. And, like Malik Collins, I feel so bad about Malik Collins, but I don't even want, that just depresses me because he's having just such an amazing year, and you could see it was helping Mason Graham. It's been helping Myles Garrett. And that's another thing. We're 20 minutes into the show, and we can't talk about Myles Garrett having a literal historic season. He has 19 sacks. Like, he's going to break this record, and we don't get to talk about it because the offense and the coaching and the special teams is so bad that it's overshadowing a literal NFL record is on the line. He needs 4 sacks. We got 5 games? Is that right?
True. Yep.
5 games.
That's a fact.
So we got 5 games, and he needs 4 sacks, and we don't get to talk about it because everything else, like the offense, is just dog shit. Special teams is just dog shit. Like, it's all overshadowed by ineptitude everywhere else. You don't get to talk about, like, we are witnessing greatness in Myles Garrett. We have been for years, but this year especially. And, but like, so I can understand why you would be able to go get maybe some defensive free agents. But if you're trying to sell offensive free agents, they're going to look at this and be like, you couldn't win more than 3 games with a historic defense in a historical defensive season. So why would I want to come play there? Like, even if the money, because they're going to get money. We've seen so many people take lesser money other places. We've seen that. And that's back where you're at. And we'll transition to Shedeur here in just a second. But like, that's just for me, it's hit the reset button and clear it out.
Yeah.
I want to say,
I can't sell it any other way.
Right. If you look back at when Michael Strahan had 22.5 sacks and when TJ Watt had 22.5 sacks, I would bet that both of those teams were at minimum playoff teams. I don't know if they won playoff games. I mean, you're having
they weren't wasted seasons like this.
Right. You're having a season like this, which in an NFL perspective is very likely going to be looked at as an all-time season by maybe one of the best seasons by a defensive end ever, and you're not even sniffing 500. That's in the historical context, that is batshit insane. Yeah. From what you should expect to get when you have that type of dominance from a player.
I expect to not be depressed. I'm just saying, like, I'm looking at you, I'm sitting here, and I'm like, you just find new and more creative ways to kick me right in the balls, don't you? Like, every week. You're just like, because when I'm in it, man, I'll get up sometimes, and I'll walk around and be like, all right, let's do this, clap my hands. And then by the fourth quarter, I'm like curled up into a burrito like a baby when you swaddle, an infant. And I'm just like, and it's just like I'm just constantly like, why am I wasting my time? Like, what are we doing? It's just like, it is what it is. So let's move. Yeah. Josh is not. Yeah, you hit it. Go ahead, Nick.
Okay.
Jeff talking about top 3 defense at every metric. We might get the number 1 pick. Make it make sense. Exactly.
Well, and here's what I want to say about it, because I see a lot of people like hit the reset button but keep Schwartz. There's a good chance if you hit the reset button, Schwartz is gone. But I'm not overly concerned about that, because of all the things you have to fill, defensive coordinator is not going to be hard. People will line up to coach that unit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that doesn't worry me as much as I see it worry some people online.
That's a really good point, because I didn't even think from that direction. That's a really good point, because rather you lose them or you don't lose them. Yeah, they're going to be like, oh, I get Myles Garrett, Mason Graham, Malik Collins will be back more likely. Alex Wright,
Grant Delpit, Denzel Ward, Tyson Campbell, Carson Schweschinger, Devin Bush. Like, dude,
how did I miss potentially JOK? Dude, I'm telling you right freaking now. Could you imagine JOK and Swesh? I want to
very much so.
But I don't want to get my hopes up just in case.
Yeah, I can't.
I can't go all. I get to. I have my moment with it, and I go hee, and then I just move past it, because otherwise I'll get sad about it. So let's talk about Shedeur, right? Because that's what That's probably the. Let's see. We recapped that game. We talked about why they're on the hot seat. Oh yeah, okay. So the other thing, I got to keep us on track. I have to put notes off to the side, or else we'll go all over the place. Let me see this. Does anybody truly believe drafting a quarterback with these wide receivers and the line, the entire offense is a dumpster fire? My blame is strictly on the offensive guru head coach. I do believe. I mean, I said it before that I thought the number one issue with this offense was not the wide receivers. It was not the offensive line. It wasn't the coach. It was the scheme. Or I'm sorry, it wasn't the quarterback. It was the scheme of the coach. It was the number one issue, because you have enough talent to be better than you are. I'm not saying you don't, that there's not that talent is not a top 10 unit, but it should be like top 25, top 20-ish, because Fannon's good. They got 2 really good rookies. Judy at least had 1,000 yards last year, and like there's some talent to be better than it is. See, and my thing is people talk about drafting quarterback. Will that fix wide receivers and offensive line? No, it'll elevate it, because go look at New England and you tell me that wide receiver room is significantly better than Cleveland's, because it's not. But you know what is? Drake May.
Yeah.
That's my
But
point.
there needs to be a
people.
realization of the fact that Drake May's already got to what we thought he possibly could be really quick.
Yeah,
You know.
Yeah, but my point is, people say, well, don't draft a quarterback right now because you drop them into this and they'll fail. We're looking up just, you look at that team and it's showing you if the quarterback is the dude, he will elevate everything else. Plus, if you draft a quarterback, that's only one of your picks. Even if you trade up, that's two of your picks. You still got free agency, all this other stuff. We'll get into that later. Let's talk about Shedeur Sanders because has this quarterback thing. For me, I thought in the first half, there were some misses. And Casey, I'll kick it to you here in a second because you did your deep dive on the all 22, and I know you got some opinions on this. I thought for the second straight week, at least in the first half, that it looked like an NFL offense. Like you can see that he has the arm. You can see that he has the accuracy. Like you can see the flashes. There was he drifted back in the pocket. He held onto the ball too long. Things that he didn't do against the Raiders, which in a sense, I know it seems weird, but I have some hope there because just a week ago, I saw him not do those things. And then he comes into this game where all of a sudden he started trying to play hero ball because the Niners were starting to get up and he was trying to get, instead of last week, he took what the defense gave him. This week, he tried to go big game hunting, and I understand why. I get it. But I know you're gonna say this, Casey, because you said it to me the other day. The issues I had with Shedeur this week are all fixable because none of them are physical tools related. They're tendencies. And for me, I think the game just needs to slow down for him. Right now, it's going too fast. And as a result, he's not trusting his eyes. He's not trusting his pass catchers, which I get to an extent because they drop a lot of passes. And he's not trusting his protection or the play calls, which makes sense. like some of that stuff makes sense, but he's just got to trust himself a little bit more. I think he'll get there, but it was a good first half. The second half wasn't great. Are we evaluating Sanders versus the Raiders defense then versus the Niners? I would think the Niners D is better. Yes, I agree. Yeah. I said
he needs to get better every week. There needs to be he needs to build on performances. That isn't just like who he is against the Raiders, and that's the baseline. This has to, if he wants to be the quarterback of the future for this team, this has to be a progression to finish out the year. And it was a regression against the Niners. Comes down to his footwork, man.
Yeah.
His footwork and his eyes are not matching. He's not, because I am never going to go to bat for this wide receiver corp. I'm never going to be like they're the unit, but they were getting open early in progressions, and from the all 22, the end zone angle, it even looks like he's looking in that direction, but it's not coming out. The decision's not being made, and you can't compound even if they fucking drop it. I need your process to be right because I'm grading you off that. I'm not grading you off for whether they drop a catchable ball. I'm evaluating this dude as long as his process is crisp and he's getting the ball out and it's going where it's supposed to go. And the offense, because that's how you move the chains. That's how you keep your defense fresh. Even if you end up punting after 1 or 2 first downs, that's a positive for me because I need to see that. I need to see more reps. It's hard for this dude to get the reps when it's 3 and out. You know, and there were plenty of times where the fact that they didn't get the first down was on him this week. But they're all fixable. Nothing that this dude is doing or not doing cannot be improved upon. There's no, and for me, it's the process. I need to see you go through the correct process. And when you start to play hero ball and you get out of that, and I don't even know if I said this in the short, but I understand it's in his DNA to be a big game hunter. I understand that. That can't be plan A. That is a hard fucking way to make a living in this league. That can be in your back pocket for when shit does break down. But I need you to win within structure. I need you to win within timing, and I need it to be the process. And one of his mentors is Tom Brady, made a living off this, man. He took what the defense gave him. And that doesn't mean check down. I mean, you still have to be aggressive, but you have to understand what the defense is doing, where the leverage is, where the windows are, and you have to put it in there. And then at that point, you are trusting your guys to make a play. And the highlight the play with Judy in the first drive where he gets second level and he lobs it over the top, and it's not off by much. I mean, that wasn't an egregious throw, but the fact that that dude was butt ass naked earlier in the play, and if you just throw it to him, it's a much easier pass, pitch and catch. Now maybe Judy breaks all of our hearts and drops the ball. Probably a 20% chance that actually happens.
Yep.
Right? But it's the right process. That's where the ball should have went right away. No, you can't hold on for a beat longer, especially with this offensive line. So that's what I want to see. I want to see him embrace that, embrace the process, and Bill Musgrave. That's who I want him reporting to. I don't want him reporting to Stefanski.
No.
I want him as soon as he gets sidelines. Bill Musgrave, you guys talk it over, look over the pad. Where should the ball have went if it didn't go where it was supposed to? Accept those teachable moments, because I want to see him build. I want to be excited going into the offseason. And the only way we're going to be excited, aside from what Miles is doing, is if Shedeur starts to progress and we feel like we have the guy. If not, man, we're just going to be in fucking limbo all offseason long.
Until the draft, pretty much.
I think there are little glimpses that Shedeur can really just throw such a damn good ball. There's some bad habits wrapped around it, and that Judy throw, if he hits that, it feels so different to me. But unfortunately, he doesn't. I think what I'm most excited about for the rest of the year, and this probably leads into something we got to touch on just for a second, is I'm hoping that Shedeur gets the last 5 games to just showcase what he can be, showcase if he can grow, and what an offense with Shedeur, even with this rough receiving core, looks like. Because I know the Browns activated a certain somebody, and we've got to touch on it just for a second. I think you're much more benefited by having Shedeur Sanders out there and having the opportunity to grow and learn and display, give you every reason to at least consider going in a different direction in the draft. I think that's in the best interest of the team rather than trotting Deshaun Watson out there.
Yeah. I don't see a world where, unless Shedeur gets hurt, he's not the starter the rest of the way. Like, I mean, it could go horribly bad, but I don't see that. Like, I'm not sure he'll prove he's the guy, but I also don't think he's going to go out there and look like total garbage. Like, I don't think that's happening either. I don't think it's going to be there's a very good chance it's just somewhere in the middle, which you can roll into next year. And if you don't like these quarterbacks, or like they go back to school, because you got the question marks around, like, does Dante Moore come out? Does Ty Simpson come out? If they both go back to school or whatever, and Shedeur looked like a middle of the pack kind of guy, it's like, oh, well, let's build up around him and see what happens. But we need to see him be a middle pack of the guy. And the flashes are there, man. There were some layered throws and some accurate passes. And I'm very interested to see him this week, because he's going to go up against a really bad defense. Like, Tennessee's defense is not good. Like, it's not. And so what I can't do is do what I did last week when I got all super crazy about it, because he does it against a bad defense. But it's going to give you an opportunity to go up against NFL level competition, but not the top tier, and kind of show you.
Jacob.
What?
No.
He's back.
I think you lost me.
I was watching Nick move, though. I could still see Nick during all that and him move around. Couldn't see you.
Okay. All right. Hey, whatever. He's trying to kick me out. Things like you. But yeah, like, so he's going to have the opportunity to showcase, like, hey, here is what I can do. He's going to be able to show flashes, because you're going against a bad defense. You can't take too much away from that, but you can also potentially go, hey, look, exactly. Yeah. Progress, building on things. Try to break some habits.
Shit, man.
Like, you don't need to hold on to the ball. You shouldn't need to hold on to the ball and go hero ball hunting against this defense. Like, so show that when you go up against bad teams, you can exploit them. Like, yeah, you can't put too much stock into beating bad teams, but if you can't beat bad teams, you can't beat anybody. You know what I mean? Like, you can't be a starting quarterback if you can't do that.
Yeah.
So that's like ultimately where we come. Okay, so we had a question here. Do you think Tommy Reese's play calls are his own or within Kevin Stefanski? I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's
they're based within the system what Stefanski supplies, but they're his own sequencing.
You can tell because
a lot of his concepts are the same thing Stefanski was calling.
Yeah.
Earlier in the season.
Yeah.
Did we ever? Is he going to do we know any update about the UCLA job?
Didn't somebody take that job?
That's why I'm not sure. I know Tommy Reese was up for it, which I mean maybe it's a moot point if they do indeed push the reset button.
Yeah, they already hired him. They hired Bob Chesney.
Oh, okay. Okay, so just an interesting piece to it because I do think Tommy Reese is is calling some good offense. The execution of the players is another thing, but I do think that schematically, would you say you feel that the offense has improved since Reese took over in terms of play calling?
Yes, 100%. There's a functionality to it, and there's a method to the madness. You could see things build. You can see them go back to concepts with wrinkles later in games of shit that actually worked. Whereas when Stefanski would call something that worked earlier in the game, that was it. You'd never see the shit again. We're seeing other things build off things. I'm seeing players get open. I'm now obviously it comes down to execution, like you said. There's no consistent execution, so it's hard to, when you're only having 3 or 4 plays each drive, that sample size stays small. You need to see elongated drives so you can see what it looks like if it actually plays out for 8, 9, 10 plays, on scoring drives. So that's actually all I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for this week. This is a team you can do that. And if you have like 3 sustained drives that end in 6 points, you'll beat the Titans. Like that's a reality, man. The Titans are going to have a fucking hell of a time scoring on this Browns defense. I mean, Cam Ward will probably do 1 or 2 things that make your jaw drop because he has physical skills like that. But they're not going to be able to consistently move that ball, man. That's not going to be a thing that happens, especially at home.
Yeah, this absolutely should be a game in which you should be able to control this game. And so if Shedeur Sanders is going to be a guy, he should at minimum flash in this game. He should at minimum go out there and flash. It's still his 3rd career start.
Yep.
So there's going to be some rookie growing pains. There are going to be some moments where he's going to do some things that frustrate you, but that's okay. I need flashes. Like you said, Casey, stepping stones, moves forward. Because, man, if I could use those 2 first-round picks on not a quarterback.
Browns are a 4.5 point favorite at home, just in case you were wondering. So, I mean, they do agree that the Browns should be favored in this game. Although I feel like, I don't know, I hate betting with my heart, but I feel like the Browns should win by a touchdown. I feel like if we're not winning by a touchdown, I just feel like this is a game the defense could just dominate. You run Quinton Judkins 25 times, and you let the Myles Garrett set the sack record at home. That's like the script to me. I guess I'm giving out early spoilers, the keys to the game.
No, I mean, that's not a very good offensive line. If there's one offensive line that might be worse than ours, it's that one. Not by much because ours is garbage. But
the Raiders, you got to put the Raiders in that. Yeah, Raiders are in that basket.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So we got to wrap this show up because it's time for us to wrap this thing up here because it's wrapping up time. Guys, make sure you're subscribed. Give us that thumbs up if you're checking us out on YouTube. Or if you're at TikTok, come over to the YouTube at youtube.com/@thebarkingbrowns podcast. Hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up. Go to TikTok, the.barking.browns on TikTok. We're getting close to that merch giveaway, and we post a lot of short content and stuff over there. And like I said, there's going to be a bet. Me and Bill released our top 50 big boards for the 2026 draft this past weekend. And we're going to bet on whose top 10 you like the most. And then the loser's got a punishment. So look out for that on TikTok probably tomorrow. I'll probably put it out tomorrow. So yeah. Nick, get us out of here.
Okay. All right. So with that, let's hope for. I don't care. I don't care about the draft position. I want a Browns dominant victory. And so thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for being here, for liking, subscribing. It's super rewarding to just wake up and see those numbers go up and up and up and up. So thank you guys for all helping us, both old, new, whoever. We love you. This has been a reset button episode of the Barking Brown Show. I'm Nick, and I'm going to try to point the right direction. Is that Casey? It looks like
No,
Casey.
it's not. Yes.
Okay. All right. Go Browns.
You didn't even say my name.